IRIX has just released their newest Cine lens in the lineup, the 15mm t2.6, and we got our hands on a super early model. Take a look. We've already reviewed one IRIX Cineline lens, but for those of you who missed it, IRIX has created a line of lenses designated for cinematographers that boast all of the great features you would expect in a Cine lens. The lens has a very long throw, geared teeth, declicked aperture, and it's built like a tank. If you want to see a deep dive on the 45, where we talk about these things, click here. Seriously, in terms of build quality, this lens gets an A+++. It just feels like pure quality and high-end materials, similar to what you would expect to find in a much pricier lens. So when I think about it, 15mm is a weird lens to bring out when there's already an 11mm in the lineup. What I'm thinking though is that IRIX is showing their commitment to the Cineline lenses by filling the gaps to achieve a full set. The other thing is, 11mm is a hard lens to justify when you start building your set, but when you can bring a 15mm in, you get your wide angles covered. When mounting it on a super 35mm sensor like a Red Dragon, you'll find a very familiar range. 24mm is what I would consider to be the standard wide lens. I think most people are familiar with it. On the other hand, if you're lucky enough to slap this on a full frame sensor, prepare to be thoroughly impressed. The lens performs very well considering how wide it is. While most wide angles struggle to get rid of vignetting until fairly closed apertures, the 15mm here is virtually vignette free by t5.6. The sharpness is also very good, but similar to the 45mm, it does start out a little soft. At around 5.6, it seems to peak. Also, like the 45mm, the lens breathing is very subtle, and it looks great when doing a focus change. The bokeh on the lens is surprisingly pleasant. Usually with wide lenses, you don't get that distinct look, but the 15mm gives a nice round shape, even at t2.6. For those of you who have been keeping track, I finally found a lens with a flare that I freaking love. I know I've been picky, but this is exactly what I'm looking for when I look for flares. The lens has a nice round flare with tons of character and color. While I'm happy to have the 15mm in my arsenal, I can't say it was a lens that I was particularly waiting for. It feels like IRIX has two pretty significant gaps between their Cine lenses, the 15 to 45 and the 45 to the 150. Don't get me wrong, I don't think the lens isn't welcome or doesn't have its place, but I do think that closing the gaps would be more important right now. I would love to see a 35mm or an 85mm to complete my set. Either way, I'm glad to see such a high quality glass starting to become readily available for cinematographers, and if this is what it takes to make our way towards a line of lenses that are both high quality and affordable, so be it. Also, in our review of the 45mm, I mentioned that the magnetic hood was weird for me, but after having time to play with both of these lenses, I've officially come to a conclusion. I just don't get it. It seems like it answers a problem that no one has. I mean, if you have the lens hood on, you want it to stay on. And if you want to take it off, you probably have the time it takes to just unscrew it. It's actually harder to put the hood back on than the traditional twisty way. It just seems like the juice wasn't worth the squeeze here. In terms of pricing, the lens will sell for $1,200, with a $100 premium on the PL variant. Still no word on availability, but we'll be updating you on the blog as soon as we know. So that wraps up today's video. If you liked this video, make sure you hit that like button and consider subscribing for some more awesome news and content. I'm Adam Frimmer from DIYPhotography.net, and I'll be seeing you in the next video.
Yeah.